Citroen launched its first product for the Indian market back in 2021 in the form of the C5 Aircross SUV. But that was merely the appetizer to give Indians a taste of what the brand has to offer. Now though, it's time for the main course, which comes in the form of the C3. Now this is a hatchback, styled like an SUV. It comes with a naturally aspirated petrol engine and a turbocharged petrol engine. And everything else the car has to offer, the features, the space, the performance, we'll tell you in this video. But before we get to that, do remember to subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon so that you get notified every time we go live with a video on Auto Today.
While Citroen insists on referring to the C3 as a hatchback, it gets some very obvious SUV-inspired styling cues, including an upright stance, cladding for the bumpers and wheel arches, roof rails and 4 skid plates. Signature Citroen styling elements are present in the form of those LED DRLs, merging with the chrome strips up front that also incorporate the insignia. Design-wise, we think Citroen has done a fine job with the C3, making it look more expensive than it's actually going to be. The Citroen C3 measures 3981mm long, 1733mm wide and 1586mm tall, which makes it bigger in size than hatchbacks like the Suzuki Swift and the Hyundai Grand i10 Neos, and slightly shorter in length than the likes of the Suzuki Baleno and the Hyundai i20. Compared to something like the Tata Punch, the Citroen C3 is longer but not as tall or wide. However, at 2540mm, C3's wheelbase is longer than the Tatas and most B-segment hatchbacks as well. Citroen will offer the C3 in dual-tone color options, and while alloy wheels aren't standard on any variant, they will be offered as an optional extra.
The Citroen C3's cabin certainly looks impressive, but it does feel built to a cost, especially bits lower down in the dashboard, and there are certain plastic bits that feel like they have been compromised on in terms of quality. But overall the design is funky, especially with this orange insert on the dashboard. This isn't standard, this depends on what trim you've selected and what color you've selected. So not all C3s will get this orange insert, but it certainly looks funky, adds some liveliness to the cabin in some sense. Speaking of the features within the cabin, you get a 10-inch touchscreen. This supports wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You get a manual aircon, and you get a USB port for charging your device and a 12-volt socket for doing the same. There are plenty of storage spaces and cubby holes which can come in handy if you're in the cabin of the C3. This shelf, for instance, can hold your phone very easily. There's more storage space underneath, 2 cup holders, and there's another storage space underneath the handbrake lever as well. What meets the eye of the driver is a digital instrument cluster, but again, it also has the sense of built to a cost feel to it, because it's just a small screen that displays your speed, your fuel efficiency, distance to empty, and of course your fuel levels and engine temperature levels. But there is no tacho in here. There is no option to view the RPM readings, so that is something that we certainly wanted to have in the car, but it's not there. The steering wheel, nice to hold, bears some resemblance to the bigger C5 Aircross. It's got controls only on one side. You've got controls for your telephone, for controlling the volume and the source of your audio input.
There is no rear defogger or wiper, or a manual day-night switch for the inside rearview mirror. All 4 power window switches though get an auto down function, which is surprising for a car in this particular segment. Safety kit includes the mandatory dual front airbags, ABS, speed sensing door lock and rear parking sensors.
The front seats are nice and comfortable. The seat squab is very generous and offers ample thigh support, and you do get driver's side seat height adjust as well, and of course the recline function is there. The headrests though are fixed, they cannot be adjusted, they cannot be removed. Space in the rear seat of the Citroen C3 is impressive. This seat is adjusted to my driving position and my height is 5'8" for reference, and as you can see, I have plenty of knee room here and I have plenty of space underneath the front seat to stretch out my legs as well. The seat itself is set at a height slightly more than the front seat, so you get a better view of the road ahead. And it also makes sure that your seating position itself is very comfortable. There's plenty of thigh support. The seat back is also at a nice angle. Headroom is decent, not very generous, but it's still okay for most passengers, I think. There can be 3 passengers seated here, but average size individuals will definitely be more comfortable than slightly larger or taller individuals if you're seating 3 abreast. In terms of features, for rear seat occupants, you get 2 USB charging ports, so 1 for each, and you get a cup holder as well. These windows are power windows, but the controls are located between the front seats and not on the door. The doors get bottle holders, and you get grab handles for the rear seat occupants, although you do not get the same for the one seated in the front seat, which is a very strange omission. Things that are missing or could have been done better, well, you could have had adjustable headrests, which are not there. There's no headrest for the one seated in the middle either, and there is no flip down armrest or cup holders in the rear seat of the Citroen C3. Citroen is offering the C3 with a couple of 1.2 litre 3-cylinder petrol engine options. There is a naturally aspirated petrol engine which produces 82 bhp of maximum power and 115 Nm of peak torque, which comes paired with a 5-speed manual transmission. The one-way driving is the 1.2 litre turbocharged petrol, which has 110 bhp of maximum power and 190 Nm of peak torque, and this one comes paired with a 6-speed manual transmission. As those figures suggest, the turbocharged petrol engine is the more exciting one, but the 1.2 litre naturally aspirated is also decent enough for city driving. It'll keep you fairly happy while you're pottering about town, and it does decently enough in city traffic and even on the highway at triple-digit speeds, although it'll take longer to get to those triple-digit speeds. It's pretty okay to drive and not disappointing in any way. But if driving excitement is what you're after, then it's the 1.2 litre turbo petrol that you should pick. This thing is quick. In fact, Citroen claims that it'll do 100 kmph in just about 10 seconds, and that's pretty good for a car this size at this price point. And aside from that, the one really impressive thing about the Citroen C3 is the ride quality. The way it travels over bad roads, bumps, rough patches, potholes, speed breakers is truly impressive, and it's one of the strongest selling points of the Citroen C3 in our books, definitely. The steering wheel is weighted well for both city and highway driving. It won't give you a reason to complain. Handling is decent enough as well. Nothing to write home about, but nothing to complain about either.
Most buyers are likely to be satisfied with the performance of the naturally aspirated motor. Although the difference between the two in terms of claimed fuel efficiency, 19.8 kmpl for the 1.2 NA versus 19.4 kmpl for the 1.2 turbo, is marginal, expect the gap to be slightly wider in the real world. The Citroen C3 with its light clutch, easy to twirl steering, high seating position is certainly a very easy car to drive.
Without knowing the price of the Citroen C3, it is very difficult to give you a definitive verdict on how good or how bad the car really is. Prices will be announced on July 20th, but based on what Citroen's been telling us, the general size of the vehicle and the features on offer, it will target B-segment hatchbacks and even the likes of, say, the Tata Punch or the entry-level variants of the Renault Kiger and the Nissan Magnite. And in that sense, the Citroen C3 has a lot of strengths, a lot of things going for it. It's spacious, it looks really good, it's been attracting a lot of attention. Of course, it's a new car, that's one of the reasons why it's been attracting a lot of attention, but it genuinely does look good from the outside. It looks actually more expensive than it probably is going to be. On the inside, its biggest strength is the space on offer. The rear seat, the front seats, it's all very comfortable, spacious, feels very airy. Features wise, of course, there are certain things that are missing and we wish were added to the package, but again, that depends entirely on the pricing and positioning of the vehicle. In terms of driving capabilities, performance, the 1.2 litre turbo petrol is certainly impressive, while the 1.2 litre naturally aspirated engine also does the job well enough for most city dwellers. The one aspect that's really worth noting is the ride quality of the Citroen C3, and that is something that makes it better than a lot of the cars that it is likely to target.
It does have all the makings of a car that can transform the Citroen brand from a niche offering to a household name, assuming it is priced right. We're expecting a starting price of around Rs 4.5 to 5 lakhs for the entry level variant. What do you think of the new Citroen C3? Feel free to share your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below, and please don't forget to like, share and subscribe.